Hi everyone, it's Marina from the Jungle, and welcome to another one of these funny little experiments that we're putting up here to keep connected to the community. This workplace edit series is based on 25 years of management consulting experience and follows the same format all the time. So it's a three-part process. I will explain a real life scenario or a moment, an observation, and then I'll tell you from a management consultant what's going on, and then hopefully I'll give you some tips to either capitalize on the opportunity or avoid some of the issues that have happened for others. So it is just a way to answer some of the questions when dealing with people, and when they say, "Oh, you guys should write a book with all your experiences," and no one reads books now. So this is the poetry second. Okay, today's topic is around this idea of watching people's actions before you accept their words. It applies to all relationships, everything in life, but watch the actions of someone before you form a really solid opinion of who and what they are and where they should be housed in your mind in terms of their professionalism and their conduct and stuff. And I'm going to start off with an example, and then I'm going to go back and explain why this is so important. All right, we started in a regional part of Australia, a city of about 1 million people, more like a big country town, and is good. It has pluses and minuses like everywhere in the world. And it was, and then when we started to move towards building up this global platform, I noticed there were some adjustments being made to our relationships. All positive, mainly positive, really good. A lot of people are like, yeah, this is great, love the ambition, and we're very supportive. But there was a handful of individuals who started to change their actions. And it was quite confusing because some of these I had really great long-term relationships with, but I noticed over time things started to change and I couldn't quite figure out because their language, and they were supportive in their words, and they were saying all the right things and all of but their actions were becoming increasingly incongruent. Now, for me, who is someone who is, prides herself on being pretty transparent, pretty straightforward on that front, it was quite confusing for me. Now, some of the actions that started to change in the business relationships were cancelling meetings, like right at the last minute. Now, we all know that unless there's something really serious, it's actually just a little bit disrespectful to do that to someone without an apology too. It's like, meh. So cancelling meetings at the last minute, rescheduling meetings at the last minute without an apology. Some of the other things that happened, bills wouldn't get paid on time. And there was just a whole lot of what I'd call like a deterioration of those respectful, just nothing major. There wasn't one big event. It was just this sort of sliding down. And over time, I started to see this pattern with this, and it was a small subset too. It wasn't like everyone, out of 1,000 people that we've dealt with. It was a small subset, and I'm not going to profess that I even know what the motivation was, and I know they didn't know each other or anything. But there were times where for me as a business person, it was quite disorientating. And I'm not going to lie, I took some of it to heart as well. I was like, what's going on? I've known this person for ages. And then someone said to me, just out of the blue, unrelated to business, but they said sometimes relationships, you end up being the one who does all the emotional heavy lifting. You're the one who actually keeps the relationship up, and you're sort of keeping it going when in actual fact it's probably gone past its due date. And it was unrelated. It was to do with like a personal matter. Don't worry, nothing exciting. It was just one of those those many, many self-help discussions that are out there at the moment. So don't worry about it. There's nothing, we all don't need therapy. But that phrase of the emotional heavy lifting and having these one-sided relationships really, really stuck out for me in the business forum. And the advice was, let the relationship go. See if it bounces back. See if you become a valued person of their network, or are they just using you for something? I'm not saying using you is a good thing, but sometimes using someone is in the business world. It's not like a personal one, but it might be, using people for access or information or I don't know, all sorts of different things. But it's not it's not a particularly honourable or noble attribute, but it does happen, unfortunately. Anyways, back to the story. So I decided to let some of these relationships go. Stopped asking for coffee, stopped asking, stopped being valuable, and just took the risk of saying, I think by your actions, not what you say, your actions, that I'm no longer a priority in whatever new chapter of life that you're moving into. It's really interesting. So again, small subset of a very, very big client base, but enough to stand out. I then decided to then pull back and go, we're good. That's good. Send you good luck. Hope it all works out really well. And it was really interesting what happened. So to say it's 10 clients I'm talking out about, between, I don't know, 2,000. But let's just, so what happened is that some of those individuals did come back. Number one, here's the analysis part. Some of these people were actually just too busy and they had priorities and I hadn't read the room properly and I was trying to, I was thinking too much of myself and the company or, we were, and we hadn't understood that there were other things that were impacting these people. Lesson number one. So when they could get their head above water, they were right back and they were like, hey, sorry, I've been, just like old friends, like, hey, sorry, I've been out of commission, let's have lunch, all restored, beautiful. I also learned a big lesson that not to get too much in your head. Second one though, which I found interesting, some people just disappeared. It had come to its natural end. And that was all right too. And what the lesson, I think, or the analysis in business for me is that when you put yourself out there to, continue relationships, build them, and there's not a lot of value being exchanged between the pair of you, it increasingly becomes thin. So there is a point when you have to be very honest with yourself and go, let it go. As they say in the song, let it go. And then when there's a moment of reconnection, whether it be through marketing, you change your value proposition, whatever it is on that front, it'll make sense again on that front. Here's the little third group, which I think I probably, of that 10, I probably cast a bit of a dark shadow over most of them. And it was the people who were genuine users. So these were people who would, accept a catch up and then make you pay for everything all the time, even though there was no business being transacted. There would be people who would only reconnect with the friendly hiya when they wanted something or they wanted a gig or whatever. And they wouldn't acknowledge the huge, the damage or the dents that had been put into a business relationship. There was one in particular who, I still laugh about this. This is so bad. This is gossip, right? So I kept this relationship. She used to pump me for free consulting and free information. And then she decided to go out on her own, which was good for her. She was made redundant, took the opportunity to start up her own business, which is good. That's all good. But then I suddenly became valuable. And now that is true in business. It's not like personal relationship. But I suddenly became very valuable in her eye. So what happened? I was love bombed, smothered. Oh, I'll be so good. I'm like, dude, I'm too old for this shit. So her actions that precipitated the love bombing on her side is that she had been going through and trying to find connections that were worthy of her time and that she could extract some value from, and which is good. I think that's a really, really good aspect. But regrettably, she had let, over the course of a long time, a few of key stakeholders down through becoming very transactional in her behaviour. And then this sort of incongruency between how she presented herself and saying, oh yeah, I love relationships and all that people, but I'm not going to actually keep relationships up. So those two things inadvertently create a lot of friction in people. And then you start to go, is this person trustworthy, or are they actually just going to use me for something, and then drop me again, discard. Like the hell that narcissist. I'm not saying she's a narcissist, but all that language that's out there now about, yeah, sort of felt a bit like that. Now, what do you do with it? I'm going to do a quick recap here because this is a bit of a complicated concept. Number one, right? If you're spending a lot of time and energy on reaching out and preserving relationships to be able to allow business transactions to move forward, and you're not getting anything back, at some point, whether it's once a month or every second month, pause and look at the actions of those people. You don't need to spend all your time and energy chasing people who are not going to build a consistent, stable, healthy business relationship with you. Sounds like relationship counselling. It's not. But you don't need to. You don't need to. Put them into a different bucket where they are, they're not in your inner circle, right? And that's okay. They might come back, but in your mind, stop chasing. Just stop put them into that area. Because what it does, it creates more time in your schedule to go network, find new connections, open yourself up to, new parts of business, like travel to another city, go look at different things with those 6-7 hours that you have been spent trying to chase people who have signaled to you the relationship's run its course. That's exciting. So look at it on that front. Second thing, as a analysis, is that if you find yourself in a situation where you, a bit like me, you ended up with this small subset where you're like, these dudes are these dudes are really, really using, like they're using me in some capacity, but they're incredibly discordant between their actions and what they're, and how they're talking to you, like that frothy, oh, I love you, but I'm not because you're going to keep a, consistent relation. I'm going to go hot and cold, all that stuff. Those people, put them in the bin. All right, it's too unstable. It goes up and down and round and round, and you will waste a lot of time. And so your sales pursuit and your sales acquisition costs will go through the roof. You'll be, just wasting time, not just money and time currency, but also your own creative heart and your own sense of worth as well. Just put them in the bin. Again, you can take them out of the bin if you need to, but just sort of make sure that you're preserving your energy and all this stuff. The last little tip for this one is don't get too hard in, don't get too much in your head. Don't just discard or have a little hissy fit because someone didn't reply to you straight away or what have you. You never know what people are going through. You never know. So give people the benefit of the doubt. And don't send one of those passive-aggressive emails of, clearly you're too busy to answer me. Don't. You're a business person, not some like 12-year-old brat. Right? Just put a note in your diary and, circle back if the actions are really different to like how you've known them for a period of time. You never know. You just never know what people are going through. But it is a very good idea to get rid of people you don't trust anymore, or they've broken or tested your business trust to the point where you go, we're done. You're okay. You can do that. All right. Use that time and energy. Go find some new people, new cohorts who you can foster good relationships with. And also make sure you are clearing this out regularly. So you've got this sort of pipeline of freshness. Now, before I sign off, I'm also going to acknowledge, don't be that person. Just don't be that person who doesn't keep relationships up, who breaks their word just because they're too busy, who treats another person's time in the business area as though it's limitless, and it's not. Life is short, business is short, so don't be that person. So with that, I am not a counsellor. I'm a business person, and that's it. I am going to sign off, and I'm going to go send a few emails. That's why this is fresh of mine. Okay, it has been a pleasure. Have a great day out there, Jungal is, and catch you soon. Bye.